there. I'm not really saying hey there to anybody yet because this stream chat's empty. I'm going to give it a little bit to populate before I actually start in earnest here. But once a few people show up, I'll start yammering on about the nature of the world of Pizza Party, which is not the name I would have given this game, but it's kind of the name that it ended up having, so... Alright. Yay, and I just saw the stream go live on my screen. Oh, I should mute this. Shit. Okay. Oh, and I should rename the fucking thing too, shouldn't I? If I can figure it out. Nope. Channel. Yeah, but let me edit my shit. How about edit? Here we go. Wow, they've very slightly tweaked the Twitch UI since I've streamed last. Let's see. Pizza Party. Streaming Fate Core, I guess. Is that a supported game? How about you eat a dick? What do you mean, please choose a support? Wow. All right, Twitch. All right, Twitch. How do I... I mean, can I just... Alright, I guess we'll just leave that part blank then. There's one other viewer in here. How you doing, whoever you are? Who is it? Let's look at the viewer list and find out. It's Profound Pants. No idea who that is. Oh, there's a bunch more people now. Maybe. Well, I guess they just must be guests or not logged in. But hello! How are you? Let me know if my mic sounds okay. It should be fine, but you answered me, Profound Pants, so I'm assuming you're good. Let's see. Well, now there it is. Alright, I'm gonna give it maybe 5 minutes or so before starting proper here. Need to get some shit together for this game. Probably make some stats for these characters. What else you got? You got, let's see. I should have thought, like, since I was gonna just wait a few minutes after launching the stream, put some music on or something, but that would require forethought, which is not a signature of anything I've ever done. So, you know, just sit in silence, I guess. Along with me muttering to myself for a few minutes while people shuffle in here. I mean, audience of 4 is about what I expect we're getting in total, but you know. Look up the... Okay. That's those. I'll be honest. Did a little less prep for this session than I normally do, which is probably means it wasn't a great week to start streaming things. But, you know, again, why would I ever think of something? Think through something. This is going to be a little more touch and go than these sessions usually are, which are already pretty touch and go. But, yeah, we are playing an RPG together. The bunch of audio entry folks. This is Luke. I am GMing the game. And, I don't know, we've had a lot of people bug us about when the podcast for it's coming out while we've talked about it. Because we're very excited about it. We've been having a lot of fun. But we definitely didn't want to do an actual play podcast because those take so much work to edit. There's so much work to edit, you guys. It's no good. No good at all. But because people kept bothering us about wanting to listen to it, we decided a compromise might be to stream our sessions, where you're getting no editing, you're getting no fancy music cues, you're not getting any, like, the dice rolls cut out or the weird pauses where we look up rules and shit, because that's all hard work. But you can listen to it if you want to. That's an option we're giving you. But losing track of my train of thought here. Since we're doing this about 5 sessions into the game, I thought I should probably jump in here before we actually started and do just a recap of the story so far so that folks aren't lost. Because it's probably confusing enough as it is, and suddenly getting an incredible amount of anxiety about just sitting here talking about this shitty story I'm writing for my friends to an audience, but it's too late for that, so let's jump on in, I guess. The game is called Pizza Party because the party of adventurers works for a pizza delivery service. They work for like a pizza parlor called Zazazir's Pizza, and it is run by a very crotchety old time wizard named Zazazir, and it is set in this city built into a mountain, and that's what this image is of. A very nice person who listened to my episode of Inside the Master Studio on audioentropy.com, getting that cross-brand recognition going. Those are two, cross-branding and brand recognition are not the same concept. Listen, you tuned in to listen to me ramble incoherently. I hope you understand that if you're listening right now. That's on you. But anyway, getting back on topic. Yes, someone very nice did an art of the city that this game is set in. It is called Nethria, and the idea is that the world of this game is this very like high fantasy kind of world, but it's also very dangerous. There's lots of monsters and dragons and whatnot. And in general, there's not a whole lot of like large civilizations throughout this world. You know, there's pockets of small villages and settlements and that kind of thing, but the dangerous nature of the world means that the settlements can generally only be so big. And Nethria here is kind of the one major exception to that. That little like pink flower bud at the top is the palace of the fairy queen, Ionoia, because this is a fucking fantasy game, so you gotta have names that are impossible to say. And sort of the colors you can see sort of running across this mountain are this magic water that flows down out of her palace, and it sort of refracts into different colors of the rainbow at each tier of this city. And it has sort of a magical property that evil creatures cannot get close to it. So both the mountain and sort of the surrounding area is protected by the Fairy Queen's weird magic water, which lets this big old city sort of flourish. And each sort of level of this mountain is kind of a different tier of that city. And there's sort of a class stratification thing. You know, you can see sort of the area around the mountain is farmland, and then sort of the base of the mountain is kind of the low class, kind of blue collar area, and the yellow tier is kind of the upper lower class area. Green would be kind of it's more like merchants and artisans, kind of like middle class. Then once you start getting into the blue tier, you've got more like bankers and wealthier people. The what's it fucking called? The not purple. Fuck. God damn it. Indigo. The indigo tier is kind of this luxurious, rich people area. You know, like mansions and parks and that sort of thing. And then the violet tier is the government area, where the Fairy Queen's palace is, and where the council building is that kind of administrates her city. Administers? Fuck it, who cares? And like I said, the party in this game work for a pizza parlor down in the yellow tier, and they generally have some just goofy ass adventures as a result of their job, because this is a weird, crazy, magical world where even being a pizza person can be fun. Oh, God, what am I doing? This is miserable. I hope some of the players show up soon. Oh, sorry, hold on one second. Okay, yeah, they're not going to be here till 11, which, Christ almighty, I'm just realizing that I started this whole stream an hour earlier than I meant to, because I'm terrible at time zones. Fuck me running. Well, I'm not guaranteeing that I'm talking for 2 hours. I only meant to talk for 1, and that's already proving difficult. Anywho's it. Sorry. This is just... I hate this. I hate myself for exposing you people to me. All right. So we currently have 5 members in the party. Molly from Transmission Radio and Totally Reprise is playing the character of Edith, who has worked at the pizza parlor the longest. She originally had her own aspirations of starting her own restaurant, and those sort of fell by the wayside as time went on, and she has just kind of become the cook for this restaurant. And on the side, to vent her incredible frustration at her failings in life, she has gotten involved in the city's underground fighting league, uh, where she is the reigning champion and kind of a heel champion because she generally wins in single knockout punches, and it's not necessarily fun to watch. It's not really fun for anybody but her and the people that bet on her. Um, and then the second longest staying employee is Ashley's character, also from Totally Reprise and Transmission. She is playing as Jet Jones, who is a hyena girl. She started working at Zaz's Ears Pizza out of high school because at some point we just decided they have high school in this world. And she kind of always intended it to be a temp job while she got her music career off the ground, but it never really came together. And she's been working here probably at least 5 years now, and it's kind of dawning on her that she could just kind of make a life out of this, and she's just sort of struggling with whether or not that's enough for her. Um, I'm trying to think. I'm forgetting one person. No, I'm not. We also have Ianthea, who is a dryad from a nearby settlement called Willowake, which sort of borders up against a big forest that's home to lots of magical creatures and druids and centaurs and that sort of thing. And she is currently attending college, and she is an exchange student, and she's working here to put herself through college. Um, and she really doesn't have the same kind of uh, like horrible emotional problems of everybody else. She's just getting through life. She's doing okay. Um, and she is played by Dustin, who recently joined the network with his anime podcast, the Baka Cast, but he's guested on a whole bunch of shows. Then we have Brooke, who is played by Julie from Transmission Radio and the Digital Moncast, and Let Me Tell You About Homestuck. And she is playing as Brooke Webster, who is a water elemental. And she went to school for journalism and creative writing and sort of abandoned the career track laid out for her to become a powerful mage. And I'm getting a phone call, which means I need to mute this and take care of it. Okay, they hung up. Um, where was I? Right, Brooke. So, yeah, she has recently graduated from college with a degree in journalism, and I'm just seeing that viewer count go down, and I don't blame any of you. This is boring. Why did I think this was a good idea? Um, um, but she is working at Zaz's Ears ostensibly because she wants to gather material for writing a really great sort of human interest, slice of life kind of. One moment. All right, I'm back to ramble some more about nonsense. Anyway, yes, Brooke Webster. She wants to write some kind of great human interest story that'll land her a job at the newspaper. That's sort of her excuse. But in reality, she really just can't get a job anywhere else other than working in food service. Because she's kind of a horrible person and not very pleasant. And then, I think, is that everybody other than... Yes, our last character is Timmy, who is played by Mike of Teenagers with Attitude and Going Pear-Shaped. And he plays Timmy Kickflips, who is a young teenage bugbear who just recently graduated high school, the same high school that Jet went to. He was sort of a freshman while she was a senior. And his grandfather, or maybe it was great-grandfather, I don't remember, invented the art of skateboarding in this setting. So his whole family is a clan of extreme sport bugbears. But Timmy is a gentle soul who can't do the 720s on the half pipes the same way his family can. So he's trying to forge his own path in life, and, working as a pizza delivery boy is not the most glamorous way to start things off, but it's his decision, darn it, and he's gonna make it work, and he's gonna figure out his own way through this crazy, messed up world. And his first day on the job was the first campaign we ran, which was it opened up with Timmy made a mistake cooking a pizza and turned it into a horrible pizza golem that everybody had to fight. And it was eventually destroyed because Timmy ate this 12-foot tall pizza monster all by himself, which was not the thing I recommended them doing, but he rolled very good when he did it, so yeah. They were supposed to just find the monster's Horcrux, which was the pizza crust it was spawned from, or, wait for it, Horcrust. If you're just tuning in, I hope you caught that one. But yeah, he ate a whole pizza monster, and it was real gross. But then they had a delivery to an adventurers guild out in the Red District, which is the sort of field surrounding the mountain, kind of way far out near the border of the safety area of the city. But they had to pack up 30 pizzas for this catering order and somehow make it there in 30 minutes or less. And Timmy, who had stayed up all night the night before studying routes through the city and shortcuts, came up with the idea that they should take a shortcut through the mines in the Orange District, which led out into the farmland and would enable them to get there way quicker than taking surface streets. And they headed in there, and Timmy immediately got lost and ended up falling into an extremely dark pit down into the depths of the mountain. And the party followed him down there and ended up discovering a woman who was chained up in a sort of pool of water such that she could breathe, but just barely. She was like half drowning, and who knows how she got down there. They helped her out, broke her chains, and she introduced herself as Lisa and explained that her father had recently passed away and owed a really serious debt to an organized crime ring, and they had chained her down there because she was unable to pay. And that's all great, but their clock was running out. They needed to get the heck over to their delivery address. Fortunately, Lisa has portal magic, and after a few misfires was able to basically teleport them directly to the address they were delivering to. And I said this is sort of a guild hall situation, and the woman that's sort of in charge of the guild tried to tell them that they were late, even though they definitely weren't, and she didn't want to pay. And Jet managed to throw an impromptu concert for the entire guild hall and stirred up everybody into an uproar. Everyone just sort of fell in love with her guitar antics. Basically the end of Back to the Future is how I imagined that moment. And the guild leader admitted that she was trying to screw them out of their money and ended up paying them in the end. And as a side effect of the concert, Lisa kind of developed a crush on Jet. Lisa was the girl they found in the mountain. I don't remember if I said her name or not. And wanted to go home with her because she doesn't feel safe at home right now. And she did. And at that point, everybody decided to, well, not everybody, because a few people went home, but a few people decided to accompany Edith to an underground fighting match where we met the best characters in this entire game. Roy, who is sort of a slime. I picture him basically just like a Dragon Quest slime, who is the organizer of this fighting ring. And his husband, Kaiar the Medical Hawk, who is a giant, like sort of like picture the eagles from Lord of the Rings, but a hawk instead of an eagle. And his job is that when someone gets the shit beaten out of them in their ring, he swoops down and carries them off and tends to their wounds. And they are married, and they love each other very much, and I love them. Who else is logged into the video entry account? I'm guessing it's Ashley. Ashley, get into this Skype call and help me. I'm dying up here. I'm calling you. You just screwed up. Also, I hope I have this set up right so that people will hear you. God damn it, Ashley. Pick up your phone. Pick up your computer. While I'm waiting for her to answer, Profound Pants asked a question. Since it sounds like the goddesses live within the city, do any of them ever get convicted of crimes? And it was implied that the Fairy Queen is a descendant of these goddesses. Which, yes, she is. I think that might technically be a spoiler for my players, but fuck it, it's not that important. A few of the goddesses live in this city. In particular, the goddesses Fame and Fortune live here. And I will find out eventually that the goddess Strength has moved into this city also. And there's probably a few other ones hanging around. There's Ashley. Ashley, thank God you're here. This is so hard.
Hey!
This is so hard, Ashley. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I was hearing you twice. That was bad.
Oh, you didn't mute the stream. I gotcha.
You're super loud.
Am I? That's weird.
Yeah, I'm turn down my sound.
Okay. Anywho's it. As far as I know, none of the goddesses have committed any crimes. Maybe we'll find out they have. That's not a detail that's come up before. I don't know how much you've been listening in here, Ashley.
I just finished watching 2 episodes of the new Mystery Science Theater, so I've listened to almost none of it.
Cool. Awesome. I don't think that the Fairy Queen's mom, wherever she might be, is committing crimes specifically to see her daughter. I mean, maybe. I guess we'll find out. We haven't really gotten into her in the game yet. She's just sort of showed up in little bits of world-building stuff. I think I used her name in like one line in the doc I wrote up originally. But God, what was I talking about? We were talking about the fight that the night that Edith went and beat up a bunch of people. Ashley,
Yeah.
that's where I was at in this recapping,
Including Drake the Snake.
including Drake the Snake. Yes, and some other dude whose name I don't remember because he's not important.
Because he's not named Drake the Snake.
Because he's not named Drake the Snake, who was just a giant, like 30-foot-long snake with a luchador mask.
Who was dishonored by
Yes.
Edith.
Edith punched his mask off. Because he's a snake, and the mask really didn't fit that well to begin with.
Yeah, no, it was not really a well-thought-out mask.
No. But, yeah, after defeating Drake the Snake, a new challenger entered the ring, who I did not have a name for. I think she was just going to be nameless, but somehow she just got the name Andrea the Giant.
Because we decided that she should be a takeoff of Andre the Giant.
Right, yes.
And it's Andre the Giantess.
Oh, yes, excuse me, of course. Because you all are insistent that I'm trying not to put my weird kinks into this game, but you keep forcing me to.
I mean, I put my weird kink in this game.
You sure did. Yeah, hi Emily. But yeah, so Andrea entered the ring, and Edith, who, like I said, normally can defeat people in a single punch, couldn't barely lay a finger on Andrea. And Andrea seemed very adamant that she wanted a good fight and was disappointed in Edith. And eventually, Edith did manage to land one punch that did a little bit of damage, hurt just a little bit, and Andrea was over the moon about it. But then she just drop-kicked Edith in the face and ended the fight. And to make matters worse, she drop-kicked her in the face and then tapped out before Edith could be declared the loser. So that technically Edith won, but really just seemed like a real kick in the knees. Is that a saying?
No.
No. I think I was going to say kick in the dick, but I don't think Edith has it. I mean, I guess I don't know, but... Boy, all right. Moving on. What even happened after that, Ashley?
Well, after that was the... Then we went to the next play session.
Right, it was next play session.
We had all of our little interludes, which not really a lot happened that time.
Yeah, I don't think a whole bunch happened. Edith started trying to snoop around and find out who Andrea was, but didn't really do anything with that info yet.
Jet managed to destroy any goodwill that she had with Lisa.
Right, yeah. Jet keeps trying to flirt with Lisa in the most overt ways that are just off-putting more than anything else. Oh, 1 second.
I guess I should talk then.
Hi. All right.
What I said that Jet appeared naked in front of Lisa twice, one time on purpose. She's not that good.
I get you.
But then we went to we went to Zazapan's for our daily work, and we found him and his pizza wife and their pizza son. I'd gotten the pizza son.
See, now when I walk away, I've got someone to vamp for me.
Yeah. Skip it about bop bit boop.
No, that's scatting, not vamping.
What's vamping?
That's just like when you need to stall for time on a radio show.
Oh, okay.
What were we talking about?
Pizza son.
This is about what this stream has been like so far.
Pizza son.
Right. Oh, I didn't even talk about the pizza wife.
You missed the pizza wife?
Well, I was trying
How could you forget the pizza
I
wife?
didn't forget her. I was just trying to only cover the plot critical details.
The pizza wife.
So, like I said, at the beginning of our game, Timmy made a pizza golem monster that they had to fight. And when they got back that night, they discovered Zazazir doing the exact same thing that made the golem, but with a more artful touch, let's say. And sculpting a beautiful woman out of pizza. And then they just left, because what else do you do in that situation?
Just kind of back out of the... Just like, yeah.
Yeah, but then when we got back, I reintroduced Zazir by having... He was sort of just hanging out in the kitchen, and suddenly there's this horrible gurgling scream from upstairs where he lives, because his apartment is above the pizza parlor. And the pizza wife walks out with a little tiny pizza baby swaddled in pizza dough. And he immediately panics and waves his wand and banishes them both to the far future. Because this game is stupid. But they got... I don't know what Pismylionza means, but okay. Pismylionza? I don't know. But they got a delivery to an address up in the Indigo tier, which, like I said before, is sort of the rich area. Oh, Pygmalion. I see what you're going for. Yeah. Kind of a Pygmalion situation, but way grosser. Yes, Zazazir could not use a condom. Also, Zazerpan is a Homestuck character. But yeah, they got a delivery address up in the Indigo tier, luxury mansion area, that kind of thing.
Zazerpan is Zazazir's cousin who made pan pizzas.
Yes, exactly.
I got jokes.
That's what you're here for, because I was dying up here by myself.
I'm just also in the audience, but I can just yell at you.
Right, exactly. It's perfect. They got up to the Indigo tier with their pizza delivery, but they found the address that they were given did not seem to exist. I think it was like 44 or something, and there was a 4443 and a 4445, but nothing else. But eventually, by sort of feeling along the wall of the mansion that was at 4443, they found a single brick that was sort of sticking out weirdly. And when they interacted with it, it opened up into a portal and sucked them in. And this was the address they were meant to deliver to, which was an insane labyrinth in a pocket dimension that just went on forever in all directions, vertical and horizontal, and just sort of this mind-breaking, basically M.C. Escher painting labyrinth, which was also littered all over with fushigi balls that rolled around at random, because it's a labyrinth. You get it? Do you get the joke?
You get it?
It's like Labyrinth!
I picked one up and started doing stuff with it.
Yes. Yes, Jet started to do fushigi.
Which led to us hearing a strange voice.
Right, which led to them hearing a lone, distant, oh, dang, man.
Oh, so good. So good.
Because it was the Labyrinth Master, and he let you know that you needed to solve the labyrinth. And it eventually turned out that this labyrinth was kind of, each step of it was based on a different party member's, like, anxieties or character flaws or, like, problems they have. So at the
Well!
What?
We broke some of them.
Well, a little bit, but it mostly worked out fine. So in the first part of it, everything was like looping, sort of like the beginning of Mario 2, like where you walk off one side of the screen, you come out the other, and they were just sort of trapped. And that was representative of Jet's fear of like choosing a direction in life and moving forward. And once they convinced her to just commit to a direction and stick with it, they were able to actually make some progress.
It took a while, though.
It took a while, yes. She spent some time just laying down on the ground, refusing to move. But we did eventually figure that out. The next part they came to was a statue of a thirsty man who looked like he was like dying of thirst in a desert. And this was not the intended meaning of the puzzle, but it ended up being about Brooke's unwillingness to help other people. And she had to use her body, which she's a water elemental, so she's just made of water, to slake this man's thirst by letting this statue vor her. Which,
we all shouted vor.
Yes. Which triggered a mechanism that opened a door so they could move onward. Which, alright, sure. Next they found a weird, like, trackball on a pedestal that when you rotated it would change the layout of the labyrinth. And Ianthea, as a studious and extremely curious individual, became, like, enchanted by it. And she had to be convinced to just let it go so that they could continue to advance. Then they came face to face with the troll dozer, which was just a four-legged monster with like a bulldozer scoop on the front. And the idea was that it was going to have a tough hide that only Timmy's razor-sharp bugbear claws could penetrate, and he's a pacifist. But he managed to subvert the puzzle by having Ianthea use her earth magic to build him a ramp, and he skateboarded off of it to ollie up and land on the monster's back and tame it and turn it into a faithful steed.
Because Timmy's actually the best character.
Timmy is precious and must be protected.
Like, you always say, like, oh, I gotta protect blank. Me personally, not Jet. Jet
Right.
can give a shit. Ashley has to protect Timmy.
And then the last stage of it was that everybody got trapped inside of a giant Fushigi ball except for Edith, who then had to use her, immense strength to push them through the labyrinth. Go ahead.
I was just saying, some people asking some questions about the labyrinth maker just stalked them, or was it labyrinth magic?
Oh, it's magic labyrinth nonsense. I'll explain it more in a sec here. But,
once you get what is going on?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, so while Edith is pushing this Fushigi ball, they are attacked by this gigantic, like, city block-sized ladybug.
Because
Well, it's the Labyrinth ladybug. Like the ladybug of the Labyrinth. Like, that's a thing, right? Everyone's heard of that.
No.
What do you mean? Every labyrinth's got a ladybug.
If you said Lady of the Labyrinth, I can maybe see that.
No, the ladybug of the Labyrinth. Everyone knows about that, Ashley.
Yeah, totally.
But, yeah. Edith,
Undercover.
Edith was not able to outrun the ladybug, and she tried to punch it, which did not work because it's gigantic. And each member of the party was absorbed into one of the ladybug's spots. And inside of the spots, they had sort of dreamlike visions that preyed more directly on their problems. So this gets a little meta, because at some point during all of this, I posted Lisa's character sheet into our group chat thing that we track character sheets on. And I accidentally posted her real character sheet and not her fake one, because Lisa's, like, super evil.
Like, super evil.
Like, I think she literally has a character trait called profane evil.
That was what I saw.
Yes. And yeah, Ashley happened to notice my mistake and asked me about it. And I was like, well, fuck. So I needed to start maybe tipping my hand in-game to reconcile my dumb mistake out of game. So we decided that Jet had some kind of inkling about Lisa being super duper evil. And so her Ladybug vision is that she was laying in bed with Lisa, and Lisa just tells her, hey, listen, you know, like, I'm super evil, right? Like, super duper evil. Which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Jet, who's very sad and depressed and lonely, was just like, yeah, but I figured we could work it out. And Lisa...
Jet's so sad.
She's so sad, Ashley! And Lisa explains that whatever she is, she hates all people, has a deep, unrelenting hatred for them, and is really just dating Jet to make her suffer. But, you know, in the meantime, she can pretend to be a good girlfriend if Jet wants that, and Jet does want that, so she just accepts it. Because she's so sad, Ashley.
It was supposed to be a thing where
you
Jet...
resisted it.
Yeah.
You were supposed to stand up for yourself. But you just gave into it.
I didn't feel like that was in character.
That's fair. That's fair. And then,
She does still hate all pizza, though.
Wait, who hates all pizza?
Lisa, that was... Rice just posted in the chat.
Oh. And then, Brooke's little vignette is that she had finally become a journalist and had written some kind of incredible story about a terrible massacre, or a terrible fire that had occurred in the city. And it's sort of this, like, 9/11-esque moment where her story had, like, captured the spirit of the feeling, and it was, like, being quoted in eulogies everywhere, and she was famous for it. And she was going to be interviewed about it, because she just won a very prestigious award for it. And the interviewer was herself, who wanted to know why she just wrote a story about the fire instead of using her magic power to help fight the fire.
Because she's a water elemental.
Because she's a water elemental.
That seems like something that she could do.
And right, she has this incredible magic potential that she has decided to deny because she doesn't want to have her life decided for her. And yes, this picture of the city is amazing, and I am so happy that someone did it.
It's really great.
Yeah.
It did make some of the stuff we had done before we did that.
Definitely, we definitely underestimated how
extra weird.
Separated the tiers were. We're so, like, Jet just parkoured down the tier, which I think is still could have justified doing, but yeah, we maybe weren't thinking about how tall mountains are.
Yeah, you know, mountains, like, I'm from Florida.
Right, exactly. I'm trying to think. Bleh. I lost my train of thought. Oh, right, yeah, so Brooke had that, and she didn't have a satisfying answer for her doppelganger. So far we're 2 for 2 on people failing to, like, push through their problems and stand up to them. But then we started to get more what I was going for, which was Ianthea had a vignette where she was, like, talking with her academic advisor about...
Her racist professor.
Her racist professor about moving to Nethria to study for a while, and him, like, telling her that that city was, like, for people that were afraid of the world, and he wanted her to, like, actually do something with all of her power instead of just spending all of her time studying, and she just needed to stop, like, burying herself in books and actually, like, be a part of the world. And she basically just said fuck you and walked out, and she managed to escape the Ladybug that way. Timmy just had a really awkward dinner with his family.
Timmy just had a regular family dinner.
Right, where all of his family is very passive-aggressive about the fact that he's working at a pizza parlor instead of being a cool skater like all of them. And he also manages to tell them to fuck off, and then...
But in the nice way.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, bye. Edith has a vision where she's going to train at the gym connected to her underground fighting ring, but in the vision, instead of being, big and beefy, she's, a weak shrimp. And Andrea is her trainer, and she's trying to tell her how she needs to abandon all the people that she cares about if she ever wants to get as strong as her. And Edith's like, yeah, you're probably right, and just walks away sad. But then Roy, because I love Roy and Kai are the Medical Hawks so much.
Because they're the best characters.
Even in this, Vision Quest thing where everybody is supposed to, be a manifestation of the character's anxiety, I still couldn't roleplay Roy as a bad person. So he ends up just giving her a good pep talk and helping her out.
And also, you couldn't have, 3 of us being depressed losers.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess just so you know, if you're ever fighting some kind of mental monster that can, invade your thoughts, make sure you're friends with Roy, because your mental picture of him will help you out. Edith and Timmy and Ianthea managed to escape the Ladybug, and they managed to help Jet and Brooke escape the Ladybug too. And at last they made it to the Labyrinth Master, and they found out the Labyrinth itself was its own master. It's just sort of this face in the stone that can talk. And his name's Clemens, and he talks like this. And all the fushigi balls everywhere is because Clemens is an avid contact juggler. It's his favorite hobby.
That's why there's all those fushigi balls, because he's just contact juggling.
Yeah. And Clemens explains that he didn't really even want pizza. He was just bored. He had immigrated to the city because he was tired of living out in the middle of nowhere and only just having to deal with adventurers, always trying to solve his labyrinth. And he just wanted some peace and quiet. So he came to the city.
But to also trap people.
Well, sure, but after hundreds of years in the city, or however long he's been there, he got really bored and thought, well, hey, maybe having people in this labyrinth ain't so bad. So he ordered some pizza to trap some people and see how they could do it. And,
he had done it before.
Right. We talked about how a former coworker of theirs, Kevin, went to deliver a pizza to Clemens and never returned.
Man, fuck Kevin.
Fuck Kevin. He was an asshole.
He's an asshole.
But because everybody successfully beat the labyrinth, which so the way that the labyrinth works, the labyrinth magic, is that because this is a pocket dimension where the goddess of truth does not have any influence, there's no objective reality here. So reality is whatever the people inside it perceive it as, and that's why all of the traps and obstacles are based on their anxieties and conceptions about the world. But they managed to solve them, and Clemens is going to grant them a wish as a result. And he's really pitching them hard on they should wish for some raspberry popsicles.
Raspberry popsicle, man.
Hey, these popsicles are raspberry flavored. I love Clemens. Clemens is a huge asshole, but I love him.
Clemens has killed people, many people.
Oh, Clemens is a murderer. But he doesn't care. But I love him anyway. But
I like that it wasn't a wish to get popsicles. He just had popsicles.
Right.
And we could wish for them.
Yes. Right, because at the end, you guys didn't wish for the popsicles. He's like, all right, more popsicles for me. And you guys were like, wait, do you already have them then? He's like, no more questions, and just kicked you out. You guys, I gave you as a party one wish that you could wish for anything. And you guys were so afraid that I was going to monkey paw you guys that you refused to wish for anything cool. and just wished for a bunch of money.
It worked.
And not even like a fortune, just like a generous tip. But yeah, you guys escaped the labyrinth, and you found out that time worked differently in the labyrinth space, and you'd been gone from the world for 2 weeks. And then we had another sort of interstitial bit where people could just sort of take care of their business. And because of her vision in the labyrinth, Jet had decided that, you know what, maybe Lisa really was evil, and we needed to deal with it. And you improv'd that you had seen her with a weird dagger. And I let it slide, because why not? Sure, she's got a dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you invited everybody over to your house with this, like, Three's Company-ass plot to throw a house party where you would secretly learn about Lisa's true nature.
Well, and this led to one of my favorite things that we've created in this world.
Oh, yeah, because the thing you guys decided to do during the house party, Brooke and Ianthea are very good friends, because Brooke did a year at Ianthea's college before Ianthea came to Nethria, and they're both huge fans of the folk hero Stamen Rider. Who is a dryad vigilante.
Well, there's different versions of Stamen Rider.
Well, yeah, we added that bit of the lore to it, too, because there's a bunch of different Stamen Riders, just like there's a bunch of different Common Riders. And it turns out that Lisa is also a huge fan of Stamen Rider.
There's Stamen Rider Rose.
Right, Stamen Rider Lily, Stamen Rider Bluebell.
I'm a big fan of Stamen Rider Lily. I think that's kind of obvious.
Yeah, no shit.
You didn't even say it like that. Felt like there's a little judgment there.
But, yeah, so they spent the night reenacting their favorite scenes from Stamen Rider. And Ianthea made everybody some nachos. What?
As I robbed my girlfriend.
Right.
Well, not girlfriend, but...
Well, yeah, you rummaged through her things, and you found the dagger you were talking about, and Ianthea sort of looked at it for you because she knows a lot about lore and history and stuff. And it's just an antique dagger. Its edge is not even sharp. So, it's not a thing.
So we just ended up throwing a nice house party.
So you guys just had a nice house party and had a lot of fun with each other.
I did manage to drop a very depressing line, as is my usual.
Oh, right, because as everyone was clearing out, Edith took you aside and was like, listen, Lisa seems cool to me. I don't know what the problem is. And you told her that maybe just for once you were hoping the other person could be the bad guy instead of you.
Yep.
Because Jet is never not sad.
Well, you see, Jet is always happy, or looks happy, until she reveals a moment of weakness.
She's just dead on the inside. I don't think Timmy really got up to much of anything during the interstitial. Ianthea went to one of her professors, and after spending some time in the city and seeing like the Indigo District and how fancy it is up there, and she spends a lot of time in the Yellow District, which is very not fancy, she had a lot of questions about like the class stratification of the city and why it's set up like that, because the Dryad society she's from is much more egalitarian and communal. And the professor was like, man, I don't know, capitalism. And encouraged her that if she thinks she has some ideas for how the city should be run, I mean, she's young, but why not run for office? There is I said that you have the Fairy Queen at the top of everything, but she sort of like how the Queen of England, I think she has more authority than her, but she is not directly involved in the governing of the city. She has a council below her, where there's one representative from each district and then sort of an overseer. And yeah, he encouraged her to maybe think about running for office there, which she is taking into consideration now. Because why not? And then the big one, which we did a separate session with just me and Molly to take care of, was for Edith. Because she has found out that Andrea wanted to... She is visiting from out of the city to convert the Underground Fighting League into a church for her goddess, Strength.
What she did succeed at.
Which she did succeed at. She convinced Roy to kind of deal her in as a partner and convert the place into a church. So
Did we talk about their son?
We did not talk about their son, Philip the Chalkboard Goblin.
Oh, I love Philip the Chalkboard Goblin so much!
So, I wrote all kinds of backstory because I love Roy and Kayar and Philip more than anybody. They're my precious, precious boys. Roy and Kayar used to have
Luke is just really waiting for all of us to die so he can just write a fantasy novel about them.
Yeah. Roy and Kayar used to have a third husband who was a goblin whose name I do not remember at the moment. But he was a prize fighter, and that's sort of how they got into fighting in the first place. But at the time, they were not like the organizers of the fight league, and the safety standards were a lot lower, and he died in the ring, and that's why they swore to like become the top of the illegal fighting underground to enforce safer standards so that no one would have to deal with that pain again, because even though they took their revenge by making the world a better place. Because they're good people and I love them. I love them so much, Ashley.
They're really good.
But he had a son, Philip, who has special needs. He is developmentally disabled. He is basically permanently in the mindset of like a kindergartner, even though at this point he's like 30. So part of it, too, is that they had to do something to afford money to send him to a special school in the Blue District, which they do. And Kayar flies him to school every morning and sits on the roof of the school every day. And sometimes when Philip needs a nap, Kayar sits on him like he's a big ol' egg. And Roy wanted to make sure, because he knew that because his son has these problems, that he would have a hard time in life, and there were people that would judge him for it and all that. So he wanted to create a situation where his son could be famous. And that's why he became Philip the Chalkboard Goblin, because in the Underground League, there's a giant chalkboard marking everybody's wins. And it's Philip's job to mark down check marks when somebody wins. And Roy has turned it into like this ritual so that when Philip marks the chalkboard, everyone cheers for him. And fighters get cheered maybe, a few times a night when they win. They get booed when they lose. They get booed when they win sometimes. Edith gets booed a lot when she wins. But Philip gets cheered after every match. He gets cheered more than anybody else because he is the most important boy in that ring. Because he's Philip the Chalkboard Goblin.
God bless him.
God bless him.
Yeah, so they took the church money to make it. Wait a minute.
What?
I said they took the church money, but that implies that they were like... It feels underhanded. It was not underhanded. They just...
Well, I mean, part of Andrea's pitch to convert the place into a church was that it would be a lot, frankly, more profitable for them than just, like, acting as bookkeepers on bets for fights and stuff. And so far that has borne out. They've been making a lot of money from just, like, donations and, like, tithings and stuff. The church basically functions the same way as the Fighting League did, except that Andrea leads everybody in prayer before the fighting starts and closes it out with a prayer. But Ashley, and I don't know if did you listen to me and Molly's session?
Yeah.
Okay. Ashley, she replaced the chalkboard.
I know. It's...
Because she wanted something more, like, religious-y. So now there's a table with a bunch of candelabras, and Philip has to light a candle every time somebody gets beat up. and that child should not be near fire. That's not safe. And he keeps knocking him over like it's like working the lighter takes more dexterity than making a check mark with a piece of chalk, and it's hard for him. And he's not having as much fun as he used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the greatest tragedy in this story so far.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. Philip the chalkboard goblin lost his chalkboard, Ashley. You think you can make sad things happen with your character? Well, watch this. But Edith went to visit Andrea and sort of grill her because this is just such a strange figure. She's like, I mean, Edith is I think the comparison I made was that if Edith is Vin Diesel, then Andrea is The Rock.
Because we all think in Fast and the Furious.
Right. Yes.
I'll say I don't have all the Fast and Furious movies on DVD. I had most of them though, and I saw a box set that lights up, and I was like, oh man, this.
Yeah, Edith is probably the strongest person she's ever met before meeting Andrea, and it's kind of crazy to her that somebody could be that much stronger than her. So she goes just to talk to her, and Andrea explains.
At one point, we said that she was Luke Cage strong. She is.
Yeah, Edith is low level superhuman.
I mean, she is the only human in our party.
Right. Because something
she
that
kind of had to step it up.
Yeah, something that I've covered in lore stuff, and we have plenty of time, so we can get into this. But everybody in this world is some kind of weird monster thing. There are humans, though. But the thing with humans is that they are direct descendants of the goddesses that rule this world.
Yep.
In particular, the goddess Love does a lot of fucking, because of course she does. But other ones have too.
Are you just making American Gods, Luke?
Listen, I didn't even know anything about American Gods before I started making this setting, Ashley. I do not accept the responsibility for any similarities between this and American Gods.
Any gods are based on any similarity to gods, real or fake. Or
Love does not unbirth her partners. She's just nice to them. So humans are all descended from gods and are basically direct descendants are demigods. But normal humans are not. There's probably hundreds or maybe even thousands of years between them and their godparent. So
God damn it!
I didn't even mean to say that.
I'm sure there are people who are oh yeah, I'm 1/1000th.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Fame.
I'm sure. But so basically, all humans have some kind of weird edge in some aspect of themselves. They might be a little stronger than your normal person, or a little faster, a little smarter. There's something about them they have that little tiny spark of divinity in them. And in Edith's case, she's very strong. So, like I said, Edith is confused as to how Andrea could be stronger than her. And Andrea explains that she is a monk of strength, and she has spent her entire life since she was 7 years old training and following the teachings of strength, and that's how she is she is. And now that she's completed her training, she's wanted to found her own church. And Chelsea. That's okay. You're here now. We haven't actually started in proper yet. We're just kind of yeah. You haven't missed the real show. This is the pre-show.
This is just us. This is the last time on.
Right. This is a very long last time on because we're doing this for the first time a month into this game. So strength. Andrea is looking to start her own church, and she found that the actual Church of Strength. Oh, can you add Mike to the call, Ashley?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. She found that the Church of Strength currently in Nethria sucks, and she doesn't like it, and she wants to replace it with something better, and that's what she's working on doing. And Edith, who is has a very good bullshit detector, and yeah. See, here's the thing, Chelsea. I'm bad at times. We're not starting properly for 45 minutes yet. This is still the pre-show. I'm incapable of understanding how time works. Anyway, yeah. Edith figures out that Andrea is lying to her, and after like some tense moments, Andrea reveals the truth, that her real name is Strength, and she is a goddess, and she's the bit about wanting to found a better church is absolutely true.
Hello.
Hi, Mike. The bit about wanting to found a better church for herself is absolutely true because she's dissatisfied with how the current Church of Strength is operating. And in addition to wanting to turn the Fighting League into a church, she wants to offer Edith a position as the priest of the church because she doesn't want to lead the prayers forever because she wants people to pray to her. She's like, the whole point of this is so that more people worship her better. It's dumb if she's doing it herself. So she offers Edith that job and gives her a copy of the Book of Strength, the Bible of her religion, and leaves Edith to think about it.
Which, in like the latter half of it, just some great workout tips.
Oh, yeah. I imagine most of it's just like how to get sick gains.
It's just really a fitness book.
Right, yeah.
Oh man, I just logged out of the video entry account and into my personal Twitch account for the first time in a long time. And there's all these notifications from Smite streamers I used to follow when I still played that game.
Great.
Glad you got out of that.
Yeah, Lord. So I think that covered everything we did in like the interstitial time that time. So, oh right. So in that 2-week period, needed to explain why Zazir didn't mind that nobody showed up to work for 2 weeks. So, it turns out that his weird pizza family that he banished to the future somehow managed to come back in time to get revenge on him, and it turned, like, off-screen while no one was around. Zazir had this incredible Terminator 2 Back to the Future kind of, like, story playing out in his life. And we don't really know what happened other than he's around now, and he has, like, a metal plate in the back of his head. So,
It's fine.
It's fine.
We really don't want to overstate that one consistent thing that we found throughout this whole adventure thus far is Zazir is basically the worst person.
Oh yeah, I generally try to punctuate every session with Zazir being a monster. To me, that's like the sorbet of this game.
Oh, we did not talk about what has recently happened, what sets up what we're going to be playing tonight.
That's what I'm getting into next, yeah.
Yeah, we're technically in the middle of an adventure right now.
Right. So, because he was also preoccupied, Zazir isn't especially mad that everyone missed 2 weeks of work. But he does feel like they need to have better time management skills. So he decided to help them out. And he has given them a magic hourglass that, when you flip it over, takes you back in time 30 minutes. And I think somebody asked, like, is there anything bad? I think, Mike, it was you. Like, do we need to avoid meeting our past selves? Will that, like, cause problems? And Zazir explained, like, it'll be really awkward and confusing, and I wouldn't recommend it. Like, on that level, yeah, it'll definitely cause problems. Yeah, Chelsea, basically a time turner. And then, as he's explaining this, a person walks into the pizza parlor, and they are sort of this chicken dragon monster. It's a cockatrice. He is wearing a blindfold so that he does not turn people to stone, because he's a civilized cockatrice. and he has sort of a blind cane that he's getting around with, and he has a seeing eye beholder, which is just a floating eyeball and sort of the what do you call like that tentacle thing that hangs off of eyeballs that connects into your brain? Do you know? Anybody know? All right. Well, that thing is sort of a long tether that connects it to his cane and helps him see and get around. And
I think if it's like a beholder, you said it was. I think it's just a tentacle.
I guess so. Like I said, I was using the word beholder kind of loose. Like, it is not the weird, like... It's not a cacodemon from Doom, you know? It's just an eyeball.
Yeah. I mean, it's your fantasy setting. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
But this is Emerald Stone of the prestigious Stone family, one of the founding families of the city. And he explains that his seeing eye beholder, which can record... It's basically a fantasy video camera. And it showed him that there were some mysterious people messing around near the wall of his manor a few times in the past 2 weeks. And he shows footage of the pizza people showing up and getting sucked into the labyrinth and then exiting. And he is convinced that they were trespassing. And he is reporting...
When you said pizza people, I thought that you were talking about the pizza wife and pizza son.
Sorry, no, pizza delivery people.
Pizza pals.
Emerald... no, Emeril, like the... like the TV chef guy, not Emerald, like you.
Oh, so I thought you were going to do a thing where everything, like the whole Stone family, their first name was always like a stone.
Frankly, that's a great idea that I had not thought of, and I just named him Emerald. Like,
What if they're all the precious stone, but like slightly off?
That might end up being the case.
Like one of them's name is, instead of Diamond, it's Damon, and so on.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I guess we'll find out. Yeah, but it's like Emeril. He kicks it up a notch. But because of what his beholder has seen, he suspects all of them of being burglars, and he has reported them to the city guard and is pressing charges. And then he takes things a step further and goes ahead and takes it upon himself to apply a hex on everybody that will mark them as criminals and will mean that they are legally not allowed in any tier above the yellow tier of the city. And he casts this hex, and as he's doing so, Ianthea, who has the time turner, decides now's a good time to use it. I don't want to be hexed.
Because we thought she'd be responsible.
And within minutes of me giving out this incredibly powerful magical item, she abuses it. Which is exactly why I gave it to her. Don't get it twisted. And she flips it, but not before 3 people in the party get hexed anyway. Ianthea, Jet, and... Was it Edith? I think it's Edith, right?
It was Edith, yeah. Yeah, Julie and I managed to succeed the rolls to avoid it.
Right. And this creates basically a tattoo on their foreheads of a big black X.
Jet's super into it.
Yeah, Jet likes it. But they warp back in time a half hour and end up in the pizza parlor a half hour ago and immediately have to deal with their past selves, which ends up being awkward and confusing and frustrating, just like Zazir warned it would be. And
I don't know what you're talking about. Jet and Jet got along famously.
Jet and Jet did get along famously. Honestly, Ashley, I'm surprised Jet and Jet didn't immediately start making out.
Listen, Jet, she's not at that point yet.
No?
She's like, I got my evil girlfriend that's not working out.
Right. But the future pizza party convinces the past pizza party to get out of the pizza parlor, along with past Zazir, to avoid the cockatrice. And while they're hanging out in the alley across the street, they're like, okay, we changed the past, so are these tattoos going to vanish or what? And Zazier explains, no, that's not how it works. Probably should have understood that before using the time magic I was going to give you. You have changed the past, but now you need to... the phrase he uses is, resolve the time duplicates. And you guys asked, okay, how do we do that? It's like, well... I got some chemicals in my room if you want them. Because all you have to do is kill yourself now because your past selves are fine. And I think he specifically says, you have no idea how many times I've had to wash my own blood out of my own bathtub and how many times I've had to throw my own body into the river. And for some reason you guys didn't want to do that.
Again, speak for yourself.
Yeah, so you guys didn't want to do that, and you couldn't really figure out what to do now. So, after a while, you just begged me to undo what you did to yourselves. And,
I wanted us to keep going with the confusing, like, role-playing two characters thing, actually.
Right. But, Zazier took you back into the parlor, and he pulled out a magic pocket watch that he smashed, which undid the time magic. And you ended up back in the pizza parlor. And he immediately grabbed the time turner from Ianthea, and now she's got it and plans to never use it. Which, fair. And now you guys just got a call to deliver a pizza to basically City Hall, the City Council building, to the Prime Counselor herself, whose name is written down somewhere. I don't know where. Shit. Should have copied that into the doc. Hold on. Scrolling through our Slack channel. It's probably gone because it was from a whole week ago. Wait for it. Wait for it. Hold on. You guys can try to cover for me. Piera Spencer. That's her name. Great job, guys.
You're welcome.
Fuck you.
I'm not here to put on a show. We're here to. I'm just here to play some tabletop.
We're here to put on a show until the game starts, and then we're ignoring the audience and just having fun.
I'm here to relax and eat pizza and hear you struggle to remember character names.
Fuck you. Anyway, yeah, so they have to deliver a pizza to the High Counselor, and she orders a specialty pizza, which is Zazier goes into the pantry and he pulls out a large red pickle jar.
No, he had the shit in his robe. That's worth pointing out.
No,
he had the shit. He had it on his person.
He absolutely did not. I specified that he went to the pantry and got a jar. He was like digging through the pantry for a while. Don't even try to step to me on this, Mike. No one orders this pizza that often. Because it's weird. But he reaches into the...
Zazier's weird.
Yeah. He reaches into the jar, and he pulled out a tiny, sort of human shape, but with like a real big head and sort of curled up because it's like fetal. But then it's got a little black cape on it because it's a vampire fetus. And he takes the pickled vampire fetus and he cracks it like an egg and pours the blood from it into the pizza and makes some vampire fetus pizza. And he puts the desiccated corpse onto the pizza as a garnish. And that's the pizza you guys have to deliver. And the trick to it now is that... Emily! The thing about vampire fetus pizza is that at least 3 people have to be touching the pizza box at all times to feed it a little bit of life energy Because if you don't give it that slow drip, it'll get hungry for bigger life energy, and it'll grow and become a monster, and that no one wants that. Especially because it'll probably incorporate the pizza into its body, and listen, a pizza vampire is way worse than a pizza golem. So you guys have gotten this vampire fetus pizza, and you need to deliver it to the High Council woman. And that's where we left off last week.
We see some vampires are born, Chelsea, and some vampires are made.
Seems like vampires are mainly born in this setting. And yes, Emily, the cape is absolutely genetic. They're born with it on. But that catches everybody up. I think everybody might be around, actually, other than maybe Julie. I'm going to start calling people. Because Dustin's usually the person that's here the latest, and he's here, so...
Yeah.